Have you guys ever walked past KFC and thought to yourself, ooh, I'm hungry, I could eat it, it probably tastes amazing? Or maybe you walk past a fish and chip shop and out of a sudden got really hungry, where before that you didn't really even think about that food. Well, these are the reasons, these are the triggers for some of our food cravings, for our food decisions, for binge eating. When I was looking into what is driving our overeating, binge eating, or even some of the food cravings, I discovered that there are about 8 triggers that cause us to binge or to overeat. And I'd like to look into it. And today we are going to look into the sensory triggers. So sensory triggers that lead into urges to overeat or to binge. Sensory triggers. I'll give you a few more examples. You are not thinking about food whatsoever, and then you come home and just can smell really beautiful smell of freshly baked biscuits or cake or bread, and you just want to eat it out of a sudden. Or you just had a small tiny bit of chocolate, and now out of a sudden you want to continue and want to go ahead and to eat more. These are all sensory triggers. And what I mean by sensory triggers is we're using our senses. That's 4 senses that we're using. So we see food and now are hungry for it. We hear someone talking about it. So really great examples are, you might be doing some house chores and your TV is going, and then there is an ad for an ice cream or for pizza, and then you think to yourself, oh, actually, yeah, that'll be nice. I'd love to have that. So you go ahead and then eat it, or you can't stop thinking about it after that. So you heard someone talking about food. Smell, so incredibly powerful. So that's why I gave you guys those examples at the beginning. So you walk past a bakery and just really want to eat that food out of a sudden. Another sense is obviously taste. So you had a little bit of that food and now you want more. So very common. People say, once I start eating chocolate, I just can't stop eating. Or there could be another really delicious meal that you ate. You didn't think about it before, you didn't really need to eat all of that food, and now you ate it and just want it all. So these are sensory triggers. As I said, we see food, we smell food, we taste food, and we hear someone talking about it. So these 4 senses that lead for us to think about food and want to eat it all or more, or you just can't stop thinking about it after that either. So these are all sensory triggers. And what I want for you to do is to be aware of those triggers. So let's say you are not thinking about food and now you saw something and can't stop thinking about it. I want for you to stop and pause and create awareness why you are now thinking about this food. If you were not thinking about food before that, you're probably not really hungry. That means your body doesn't really require that food. But because it's there, because you saw it, because there is a trigger, now your brain remembers. It's certain foods that really trigger that are endorphins in our brain. Yeah, so our brain remembers what it's like to eat that food. So even before you actually eat it, it already sends that signal, oh, it's going to be pleasurable, I'm going to enjoy it. So it wants you to eat it because we naturally seek pleasure and avoid pain. That's just the way we humans are designed. That's our psychology. So therefore, it's really harder to resist then as well. So I want for you to really become aware that it's just a trigger. You are not really, probably you're not really hungry for it. However, it doesn't mean you can't have it. Yeah, we don't want to have that restriction mentality either. I just want for you to stop and pause, not act automatically without or mindlessly, but actually just pause and ask yourself, am I really hungry for it right now? Or do I want that later? Can I take it with me? Like, even if there is some food that you want, do I want that later? If you have certain health goals and it's not really that food doesn't really align with how you want to eat, acknowledge that. It's a trigger, but I don't really want to eat it. It might smell nice, but it doesn't really align with my goals. I can go ahead and eat something that is really aligned with how I want to eat, and something that is still delicious, that's healthy, that you enjoy, and is also very important. That's what I can't stress enough. Satisfying, okay? We want to eat food that is satisfying, because if that food is not satisfying to us, we will then go back and seek food that is satisfying. And there's no point eating something that you don't enjoy, okay? So just really look for food that you do enjoy, but still aligns with your goals. So pause, ask yourself, am I really hungry for it? Do I really want it right now? Or can I get it and have it later? Or can I have it later, like buy it later if I really want that? And giving that permission to really do that. So if you're craving, let's say a piece of cake in that moment, or a bar of chocolate, give yourself that permission to have that food later on when you are really hungry for it. And another trick that I personally do, and what I found really works with clients, is imagine having that flavor in your mouth right this moment, right that moment when you have that trigger. Let's say you see a piece of cake and you think, oh, it would be so nice to have it. And now imagine having that flavor in your mouth. Do you want that right now in your mouth? Do you want right now, right this moment, that cake in your stomach? And I want for you to really imagine it is in your stomach. You are eating that flavor, you're having it, it goes into your stomach. And also remember how you feel when you eat that food. Sometimes your decision to go ahead is different. When you just go through those steps, imagine it's in your mouth, imagine it's in your stomach, and how do you feel once you've eaten it? And I am not trying to make you feel bad or guilty. I am actually just really asking you to acknowledge what that would feel like. And on some days, you might decide, actually, I don't really want that right now. Actually, I don't want that flavor in my mouth, or I don't want that in my stomach. It doesn't really feel right now. On some days, you might actually feel like, no, yes, it does. I want to have that flavor. I want that in my stomach. And yes, today, actually, I think it will feel... Jesus Christ. Actually, it will feel good for me in my stomach, yeah, or I would feel good after that once I've eaten it. So with those few steps are really, really powerful to make a fully mindful and conscious decision whether you want to eat that food or not. Okay, and if you feel like, okay, I don't really want that, I'm not really hungry, you can also ask yourself, is there something else that I want? Is there something else that I would enjoy? Do I have another need right this moment? Is there something, do I want some comfort? Do I want some soothing? Or is there a need that I have? Or maybe not. Maybe there is actually nothing other than you saw that, and now it feels like it's a good idea to have it. But if you think about it, You don't really want that. So sensory trigger is one of the, as I said, 8 triggers that I have discovered that lead to overeating, binge eating, or those food cravings. So moments when we can't stop thinking about food. I will add a link to download a free guide, free book, ebook, where you can go through the rest of the triggers to identify what is driving your overeating, what is driving your food cravings, and then in particular, what is it that you can do? So there are practical and immediately to apply tools you can do immediately, so you can really change how you'd respond to food, so you can feel absolutely in control around your food decisions and in control around food. So download that link, download that workbook. The link is in the description, and yeah, find out what works for you, because life is too short worrying about food.